All right. Hey, what's up, guys? It's your boy Butters, and I got a video today. Um, we're gonna talk about the different layouts you can have between different fighting games for the Qanba Sapphire. So specifically, I'm gonna start with Tekken because I feel like that once everybody kind of gets the Qanba Sapphire, they want to figure out what layout they want to use for their different fighting games. And for people who don't know, I have some ones I can recommend. So we'll start with first the technical language that fighting game players use. So in Tekken, they have a universal language that they like to use to talk about their controller scheme. So when you talk to other players that are on different peripherals, so PlayStation or Xbox, they want to be able to share the same language between those consoles. So I don't want to tell anybody, hey, you want to use the X button to do this, when if they're on Xbox, X would be a different input compared to the X on a PlayStation. So I'll go ahead and show you what the universal language is. So starting from your right hand actions, they only really have 4 inputs, which is 1, 2, 3, and 4. When they say 1, 2, 3, and 4, that means that it's corresponding to the limb on the character on screen, from the player 1 side or the player 2 side, you know? So 1 would be the left arm, 2 would be the right arm, 3 would be the left arm, left leg, and 4 would be the right leg. So with that in mind, let me go ahead and show you what the layout looks like in Tekken, and then we'll show you what it looks like on the device. There we go. All right, so let's go ahead and talk about the layout that you would want to use in Tekken. So to reiterate, we're going to go to the controller setup on the game. This is from practice mode that I find this, but when you go to character select between like going online or something or at a local, you could always hit 2 or triangle on this instance right here to go to that setup on the versus mode. But from now on, we're going to use the universal language so that way we understand and learn. So here we have the Xbox layout because I'm on PC. So generally, you want to use left punch as your 1, right punch as your 2, left punch or left kicked as your 3, and right kick as your 4. So that would correspond to these buttons I have on the bottom left of the screen. So that's like a pretty easy understanding of how you want to use that universal layout. So then what do we do with these other buttons here? We have a lot of buttons to work with. So it's kind of like, how do we efficiently use it? So we have a couple here. We have heat burst and heat smash, which is the right bumper. So this is just a universal shortcut that exists. But what you want to do instead is go to the right punch and left kick, because that also is the same input as heat burst and heat smash. They just use that input of right punch and left kick. So in that case, it would be 2, 3. So it would just make sense to map 2, 3 over at the R1 button for yourself, as the macro. So the top right button here, you'd want to use that, since that's the same equivalent in most layouts. So then we have special style. Me personally, I don't really use them, but if you're much more beginner on how to use it, I would probably recommend using it on the L2 section of your Qanba. So at the bottom right, I wouldn't use this one too much, my personal opinion. But let's talk about the ones you do use. So let's remove that for now to go back and just kind of, we'll get there when we get there. So you have Rage Art. You want to use Rage Art as a macro. So macro is pretty much like a shortcut of putting 2 buttons into 1. That's how essentially right punch and left kick is being used as a macro here. So Rage Art, you kind of just want to keep it as a button by itself, because to do that in the game, you're going to have to hold down forward. So these two buttons here, and 2. I think it's 1 plus 2 if I remember correctly. Down forward 1 plus 2. I'll probably put a text there to specify. So you want to keep that as a macro because of the fact that you have to hold 2 buttons and another 2 buttons on your left and right hand. So that means there's 4 buttons you're supposed to be pressing to make sure you get the Rage Art. So that can be a little stressful in the heat of the moment when you're not ready for that. So I just recommend keeping Rage Art as your right trigger, or R2, on the bottom right of your inputs here. You want to keep that so that way if somebody does an unsafe move, or if they whiff, you have like a really fast 15 frame launcher or armored move that would kill them for at least 60 damage, maybe less if they're airborne. So I keep that. So universally, I keep R1 and R2 here. You want to keep that as like the layout you want for every Tekken game. So then what do we do with the last 2? So the last 2 would be L1 and L2 on the Qanba. Depending on how you want to go about it, it varies. If you want to use special style, you can use it on either L1 or L2 on your Qanba, if you're in that space of using it. If you don't use it, then disregard what I'm saying in this section. I recommend just kind of learning the game and just going from there. I feel like it's a little more rewarding for putting in the work and getting comfortable with what you need. If you're beginning, like you're just starting Tekken, sure, use special style, and then it could teach you the theory of how a combo works, and then you could just learn how to do that with manual inputs. But my personal way of going about things is I put throw on my left bumper, or L1, and the other throw on my right, on L2. So I like doing that. Oops. I like doing that because if I want to do a back turn throw with Azucena, I want to be able to just go for the throw without messing up my inputs. Because if I mess up my inputs, then I essentially just get a jab, which is not what I want when I'm in a back turn stance with Azucena. If I want what I want, I just have to make it a macro, and that's how I do stuff with that character. There's other layouts you could go for. For example, I know Armor King uses this specific button, left punch and right kick, to do like a shoulder bash. He has a 13 frame shoulder bash that could punish specific characters. Like I think Armor King can punish Brian with that shoulder bash move he has, because it's 13 frames, and that's like, he's like one of the 2 characters, I think him and Falcomrom, who can punish Brian doing a specific keep out move. I think it's 3-4. So I could show that real quick. All right, so we're back at it here again. So I'm going to show you the controller setup I have here. I pretty much have my different layout. I have heat here, and I still have Rage Art here, but I decided to put left L1 and L2 from the Qanba into a different layout, specifically the left punch, right kick, so the 1-4. So I'm going to show you an example of why you would want to keep this layout for a King player, or an Army King player specifically. So if I just have him play his move, he gets a punish here. So Brian is -13 when he does that move. There's not a lot of characters who can punish that. So in this case, Armor King can punish that, and Falcomrom can punish that. I think his punish is 3-2. So I could also do the manual input if you want to. But see, I'm kind of getting like a miss input because I'm not really on top of the... Oh, I'm not doing forward. There you go. So you could do that, but then I would have to learn how to move my buttons. and move my fingers around. I'd just rather have a single button to do this single 2-button input. So now I can pretty much, if like I'm right in front of Brian, which he'll probably want to do all the time because he wants to keep you away, you have that ready to go to punish. So yeah, that's like one layout you could do. But yeah, that's what I wanted to show essentially, is that you could, the first 4 buttons, you're going to want to keep that regular layout. Rage, you could just keep it right there. Or I'm sorry, heat. You can keep heat on your R1. And then Rage Art, you can put on your R2 over here. And then you can experiment between these other 2 buttons. And you can also experiment with L3 and R3. You can actually use L3 and R3 here if you wanted to, and still keep the layout that you want. So you can experiment with that. It's up to your discretion at that point. But I believe the first 3 you want to play around with, essentially. I forgot to say one more thing, actually. So we talked about the 1, 2, 3, 4 layout. There's also different layouts you could use to move around in Tekken. So I just wanted to show that real quick. So here in the hand cam, I know a lot of Tekken players like to use the WASD layout. That's reference to what the keyboard is. So you would have like WASD available. So luckily Qanba's controller has like a button over here that you can map to be up instead of the down, which is what the regular hitbox method is. So if you prefer moving around with this layout, it's up to you. But you know, this is in reference to what the mix box is. I know a lot of players use the mix box if they play Tekken, so you can use that instead in this layout if that's more your preference and comfort. I choose to do the other layout, which is just having the up on the down button right here, just because like that's what I've been learning hitbox with, and I didn't really bother to learn how to do the WASD method. Plus I wanted to be consistent between other fighting games, because this isn't the only fighting game I play. I play a bunch of others, so I just kind of wanted to bring that up to just kind of let people know you have your options with this controller specifically. So yeah, I think that's pretty much it I wanted to share with you guys. If you got any more questions, let me know in the comments. I'll be happy to answer any questions from there. I think the next layout that I want to show would be either Street Fighter 6 or 2XKO, and I'm probably going to show a combo video using this device, because C Viper is out and she's probably the highest execution character we have currently in the game, so that'll be exciting to show you how we do it with the hand cam. So yeah, I go look forward to that. Otherwise, let me know what did you guys think. If you like it, put a thumbs up for me. Otherwise, appreciate you guys for watching, and have a great one.